What's up, cavemen? Welcome back to the channel. So by now you're probably all wondering, WTF is Dungeons and Dragons? Well, yeah, I know. Dungeons and Dragons is something that a bunch of nerds do in their mom's basement. They don't have any money, so they sit around and imagine. No. Oh no, I know. It's a bunch of devil worshippers that don't go to church with their parents, so they sit around and they pray to fake gods, give their soul to devil. No, definitely not. Definitely not. I know what it is. It's when a group of like-minded friends comes together to spin an epic tale and forget their daily problems. So, for all of you who are wondering exactly what the game is, we use these books and a set of rules as a foundation to tell a story. There's one player who's named the DM, which I typically am. And then there's 3 or 4 or 5 or however many other players that play player characters. Those characters can range really from anything that you think about, like wizards, elves, gnomes, mechanical beings, dwarves, dragons, anything that you can think of really that you want to play. Unicorns, you can play in this game. So there are a ton of rules. You can see behind me, this is actually one of the maps for one of the campaign settings that you may or may not be familiar with, called the Forgotten Realms. And that's basically what we do. Some of these books are used to help DMs like myself run a game. This one is called Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frost Maiden. So I'm going to be using this module to actually run a game on the channel here for you. So I've taken the liberty of setting up some small interviews with the gamers that I'm so lucky to have on board with us. Danjo, my brother, some of you may know. Corey O'Brien, he's playing a character with us. I've got a new friend named Dean. He's right into the hobby, and he's a great guy for some role playing. And then we have Tatiana, who's also been into the game for quite some time and knows how to play a character very well. So without further ado, I'll introduce you to them.
My name is Daniel. I'm Pat's younger brother. I really enjoy having lots and lots of hobbies. I think it's really important that people have hobbies, and hobbies help to shape who you are and how you do things. So I think it's really important to have that.
My name is Corey O'Brien. I work in the life settlement industries. I'm also a lead guitar player for the band Homegrown Hero, and I like to play tabletop role-playing games from Dungeons & Dragons to Cyberpunk.
I am 22 years old. A student and also an automotive parts person at Canadian Tire.
I'm a service manager at a car dealership. I help people to get their cars fixed. It's a big part of who I am, and I think a large part of how I got there in life was to be able to have empathy towards others, and I would actually say Dungeons & Dragons taught me that.
Yeah, I got into D&D. My uncle basically got me playing. He's a few years older than me. When he passed away, he left me everything, and basically took off from there.
If you could play D&D with one famous person, who would it be?
Oh, that's pretty easy. I'm going to go with Kim Kardashian, because I think it would be really amazing to see D&D spread to as many people as possible, and Dungeons & Dragons is definitely something would be pretty cool to see a much younger fan base get into.
I would have to say Matt Mercer, strictly because I think he's one of the best DMs, and I would love for him to DM me a game.
For me, it's actually Joe Manganiello. Not only am I an all-time Deathstroke DC comic fan, hence the shirt. Yeah, he just when they made him Deathstroke in the movie, I just love that he's hilarious in everything he does, and then on top of it, he's just like a D&D god. He's Harkin the Mad.
I was gonna say Danny DeVito, honestly.
That's awesome.
I just felt like he would be someone that would just be really entertaining to play with.
So how do you make a character, Corman?
First thing I do is get an idea in my head, and that's just using your imagination, which really that's where everything starts with D&D or any other tabletop. I get an idea, and I almost fall in love with the character before I even put any dice on the table or any pencil to the paper. And I kind of create a character in my head that I get excited about, and then base it off that character so a class would line up well with this. I would go in that direction. Same thing goes with the race.
So what kind of characters did you make?
So I made a character. His name is Wilfred Brooke. He is a halfling paladin. He's a pretty good-looking little guy, you know, paladin, pretty charismatic. Has a bit of a protection, you know, wants to protect the things around him and feels sort of a need to stick up for the little people.
I chose a character named Corgan Crane, also known as Crazy Crane. He's now found himself to be studying in the monk practices because he's had a little bit of a troubled life. He doesn't do things by the book, which is very unlike monks, but he's coming towards being a monk because he's realizing he needs to change the pathway he's on. He has done illegal things. He owes debt to many people. He's a little bit paranoid, and some like to call him Crazy Crane.
I am a human wizard. I was born at sea and have lived most of my life at sea. I'm usually drunk all the time. Her name is Captain Bellany.
Yeah, so decided to play a cleric for the first time. 31 years, never been a cleric. Not sure why, mostly because I'm a DM, more often than not. So I decided to be a light domain cleric specifically. Nothing like slinging fires and then healing your buddies on the way. His name is Vedrigar Cinderbrook, and yeah, he hails from Neverwinter and kind of hates his life and doesn't like a lot of people.
So Dan, what tips do you have for a new player?
Don't you know, think people are going to judge you when you're at the table, you know? If you want to do a funny voice because your character has a funny voice, do it. Commit to it. Be that character. You know, if other people if you feel like they're judging you, maybe say, hey, at the end, like, you know, I wish that you would, you know, enjoy this a little bit more so that I could enjoy it a little more. Put a little bit more effort in. I think really committing to your character is easier to do when you don't feel the burdens of other people's judgment.
Dean, best Lord of the Rings character. Go.
Probably Samwise. He's the most underrated main character in anything ever. And he's also one of the most ridiculous. He's just kind of go with the flow, kind of chubby little halfling. Really shouldn't be on this venture, but you know, he saves the day more than once.
Tatiana, how do you get some of your more reluctant friends to try the game?
Turns out saying it's awesome isn't the way to do it. They still look at you like, it's D&D, I don't really think I want to play that. I'm like, no, it's tons of fun. And then I just push and push and push, and eventually they come to a game, and then they see how amazing it is. Plus, there's free food and booze. So.
Corman, why don't you tell us a little bit about a character that you've played in the past that really stuck with you?
My first character was Corvin Hardbeard, which even a lot of my friends still call me Corvin. And Hardbeard, he was a dwarven fighter. And he also had this awesome backpack that could shoot out dragon wings. And he had this feat where you could jump into battle and out. So he was a little OP, so he needed to retire.
Dungeons and Dragons has taught me a lot about sort of how to be a better person through empathy and through decision-making skills. Puts you in situations that you wouldn't necessarily find yourself in, and sometimes that's exactly what you need.
Once you kind of let your ego coolness drop and just jump into your character, you'll kind of forget about everything, and it's kind of nice. It's almost like you're exploring a make-your-own-adventure book together, and everybody's decisions affect that. So when you leave the game, you're almost thinking like you experience this book. It's almost that same feeling, like you're creating this world in your head, and you're envisioning it the way you want to, even though the DM's describing it to you. That's why I find books are better than movies, is because you picture things the way you want to picture it.
Well, guys, there you have it. That's the cast of our upcoming game for the channel, Rime of the Frost Maiden. I'm really looking forward to running it, telling a story. I'm going to try and pack everything down into condensed episodes, because I know big long games aren't really super fun to watch. Should be exciting though, and I hope you can learn a few things. If you have any questions or comments, please feel free to message me. If you like the video, share it, give me a thumbs up, comment below. Thanks again for watching. Keep